Both right.
It's the reality. No, either one of us is right. You have to take a side.
Yeah,
Give me a minute to make my argument.
Yes, I don't either appreciate that.
Yeah, do me a favor.
By the way, take a side.
Don't play both sides.
Don't placate us.
I will.
None of your business, Ushy. None of your business, Michael.
It's the None of Your Business podcast, hosted by Michael and Ushy.
Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the None of Your Business podcast. Thank you again to the Prime Source production team for always being there by our side and making sure this train is going down the right track. Does that make sense?
That's the first time you said. I know where you whipped that out from.
No, I just like it.
Why are you trying something new?
I was thinking of a train.
We're doing this for a long time.
Honestly,
everything was working. Everything was working seamlessly.
Last night in
and
Ohio,
then you whip out some train track.
I woke up at 4 a.m. from a train, and I couldn't believe it. It was just random. But anyways, we are joined here by a new guest, guys, Uri Kirschner.
Well,
Uri, welcome to the program. Uri, you're a longtime Wesley Hills resident. Did you grow up in Wesley Hills?
No, moved to Wesley Hills like almost 30 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Straight from Brooklyn, but I grew up in Washington Heights.
Ooh, so you're a Yekke, I guess.
I am.
Okay, that's a fun fact, by the way, that most people, I think, know, right? If you're in Washington Heights, you're a Yekke. So, Uri, I see you around a lot, and you're a very popular guy in the community.
Ooh, thank you.
Not only because you work out every day, probably, and but also because you have this 100 ride that's coming up soon, and I want to hopefully get to that. I appreciate all the gear that you brought for us today. She looks really good in it.
I look good in anything.
No, that looks good.
But these colors are really like standing out. Like it's noticeable,
It's popping
very
on you.
discernible. Yeah, and it fits very nicely on my head, I have to say. And I'm getting a lot of stuff lately, Michael. My closet's filling up. I have all different various
welcome.
caps and sweatshirts and
Yeah.
polo shirts.
I don't want to compete with Prime Source stuff, but looks good together.
Yeah. Prime Source, I wear this this is obligatory. I have to wear this. But this is very comfortable. I like it. Thank you for bringing it in.
So, Uri,
If you have anything else, I live at 3 Bore Court. Just
I have
ship it.
tons
there.
of stuff.
So there's a lot of things that I know about you, a lot of things that I don't know about you. I'll tell you, I did a little bit of research online. There is another Uri Kirschner that's an attorney.
Get out.
His middle name is Alfred. Do you have a middle name?
No, that is me.
Is that you?
That is me. There is no
A different
other
picture
Uri
that comes
Alfred
up.
Kirschner. Well, I hope it's a good one because
Wow.
it couldn't be another Uri Alfred.
Wow.
And I have to say, I would never have thought that my middle name would have come out on this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, you chat GPT you and it comes up.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
A lot of interesting things came up.
The
out of
Yekke's
this, some of
often-
which I'm not going to mention here.
Oh, great.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yekke's
going
always.
to
You mentioned, from the Yekkish community, they always. Stefan can tell you they like those middle names, which are very embarrassing.
Really? Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most embarrassing middle name?
Like
you
my
can think
sister was, Margaret, Gretchen, and you don't use those nowadays, right?
of? Yes. Mildred. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Stephen Charles.
Was it Charles?
Oh, really? That's not so bad. Stefan.
Well, his father loved all the royalty.
Loved you
that's
more.
why.
Are you a Tannersville guy also?
Big time. I'm glad you bring that up. Big time. I'm the president of the shul there.
Wow. You're wearing a lot of hats.
A lot of hats.
So you're a real estate attorney,
real estate attorney,
right? Your middle name's Alfred.
Right.
You're Yekke from Washington Heights. And Tannersville and Yekke for some reason go hand in hand.
Yes.
Why is that? What happened there?
That's a great question. Rav Breuer, it really starts with him. Rav Breuer, who was my great grandfather, when he came from Germany and brought the community from Germany to Washington Heights, they needed somewhere to go for the summers, so he started going to Hunter, which everyone knows from Hunter Mountain. So he started going to Hunter for a few years, and they had actually a shul there. You're talking a long time ago, over 100 years ago, around in the 1950s, not 100 years ago. And he moved a few miles over. He started going to Tannersville, and with some other families, they started the shul called Anshe Asharon, and he became the rabbi there. So because Rabbi Breuer was there, a lot of people from Washington Heights started going with him. Because Washington Heights isn't a place you really want to be during the summers. Just not a pleasant place during the summers.
I got to tell you, I was there once for a weekend. It's not a place you want to be at every weekend either.
Not great during the winters
Have you been to
either.
Washington Heights ever?
I know so little about the Yekke history community. All I know, and I'm sorry, I don't want to offend you or anything like that, but when I think about Yekkes, there's something off there. There's something they're very different.
No, I can tell you.
They're almost like in their own little stratosphere doing
I
their own
get
thing.
that.
Are they, dare I say, practicing a different religion?
No,
in,
I get
in a
what
lot
you're-
of ways.
I get what you're saying, but it starts with Rav Sham Shafal Hirsch. I don't know if you know that.
I've heard the name.
So Rav Sham Shafal Hirsch is more, let's say, well-known from Germany. He was very, very strong against the Reform movement. He really maintained orthodoxy throughout Germany, and he was the reason why orthodoxy survived. His grandson was Rav Breuer. Rav Breuer was Rav Shamshval Hirsch's grandson, who brought that ideology of Torah Derech Eretz into America.
But what is that ideology? Like, what do they do different? Like, what do they stand for that's unique? Like, what makes someone, like, what are some of their traditions? What are some of their characteristics? Like, what?
It really does start from Torah Derech Eretz, and Stefan is really...
I'm sorry, what does that mean? Say it slow.
I'll tell it to you. So Torah Derech Eretz was really the I don't want to use the tagline. It was the basis of so much of what Rav Shamshval Hirsch was standing for and fighting for, which was, how do you align frumkeit, orthodoxy, halacha in a modern world? It's very hard. So when Enlightenment and Hatzalah was very popular in Germany, we were losing Jews constantly, right? The Jewish people were getting lost to all the modern and enlightened Germany. So Rav Shamshval Hirsch had to find a way to say, listen, the Torah works within the modern world. And he showed how Torah im derech eretz. Derech eretz is, let's say, your job, your practice, your work, but that Torah works with it. And not just that Torah works with it, but that everything in derech eretz is found in Torah. He always said that Torah is the blueprint for the world. So whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a gym guy or a biker, anything can be done within the parameters of Torah. And that is really what Torah Derech Eretz meant. So that's why, getting back to your Yekke's question, Yekkes are very into having a profession, being contributing to society, contributing in a professional and an economic way, but very strong in maintaining minhagim. Minhagim are very important. The Ashkenaz minhag that they have is very important. So the Yekkes that maybe you're thinking about, which are, like you were saying, different, they're very stuck to the old ways of our traditions of minhagim. So our old minhagim, and I can tell you a few of them, Stefan knows, are different. Like, for example, my sons and my grandsons will come to shul wearing a talis.
Yes, something I've noticed.
Right. That's a minhag that we have.
They also come exactly 3 minutes early.
Well, I come exactly 20 minutes late. So another thing is, let's say, the vimpel. The vimpel is another Yakish minhag.
The vimple?
The vimpel. So you may use a gartel to tie up a Sefer Torah, right? But we use something else, which is a beautiful minhag. When a boy goes to his Briss, they usually wrap the legs with some material. So what we do is we take that material and we make it into a long, like, say, 30-foot long cotton piece of art with his name and his birthday and brachas and yigadol Torah chuppah masim tovim, and it's done with pictures. And that is what we use to wrap all the Sifrei Torah in the shul. It's called a vimpel. Instead of a gartel, we use a vimpel. And there's actually, like, maybe 2 or 3 people left in the world who make them. And my mother is actually one of them.
Shout out to Uri's mother who made my vimple.
That's right. Vimples are...
You got a vimple?
I have a vimple. Yeah, sure, of course.
Absolutely.
My son's a vimple.
I feel like I want a vimple now. I feel like, first of all, I love that word, vimple.
I wish I would have brought you pictures because they're beautiful.
We need to say the word vimple
and something...
more times.
I don't know, man.
Before
I'm
the
staying
show's
away
over.
from that
But
word.
here's another beautiful part of that minhag. Boys, I don't know if you did it, Stefan, but when they get married, they very often wrap that vimple around the chuppah.
I see. So it's the same one that they had when they had a
Exactly. By my son's wedding last year,
How much
we
does your
wrapped
mother
his-
charge for a vimple?
I think $600. I think
Wow.
it's
Wow,
a beautiful
vimples are
piece of art.
expensive.
So I think when you say like
Sorry.
they're different, I think it's because we're very much tied to our
painting a very
minhagim.
nice picture. and I
No, by the way,
appreciate
so
it.
far so good. Keep going, though. I'd like
beautiful.
to, I'd
I
like to know
think
more.
that's why it is. No, but it's true because I know, I'm involved. My children are in shidduchim and all that, and Baruch Hashem, we've married off 4 kids, and I have another daughter in the market now. And when people see Yekke, they're like, "What is a Yekke?" Some people don't even know what a Yekke is. But Yekke is just someone from the German, usually the Kahalas Yeshurun shul, who has minhagim. Like, I wait 3 hours. Let's say I don't wait 6 hours.
Oh, I'm jealous of that.
Oh, I'm liking
By the
this.
way, I could get on that bandwagon.
Yeah,
That
and
one.
I'll take a vimple for a
But that-
3 hour.
Yes.
but that's
yes.
why people marry into the Yekkes, because if you marry a Yekkish boy, you're getting 3 hours.
Oh.
Love that.
And
By
the
the way,
books.
that's
The worst is if you're a Yekkish girl and you marry someone, you're going to 6 hours. That's
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
guys do the 3 hours things. But I also notice, I don't know many Yekkes. I know a few here and there I come across, but they all seem to have very similar styles and personalities. Like there's something rigid about them. They're very particular, very proper.
okay, but you know Stefan. Is Stefan like that?
Oh, I don't want to get started.
Exactly.
Stefan is like a subset of the Yekke market.
get
He's
it,
like an
but-
exclusive of the Yekkes.
But he's blue blood Yekkich. His family goes way back.
Okay,
Stefan's grandfather and my grandfather were best friends.
it doesn't shock me. It doesn't
One
shock
second,
me.
Stefan, what makes you Yekke?
My last name.
Okay.
His
there
fa-
you go.
Yeah, I'm saying it changed. I mean, it's like
Okay.
the same thing. It's it's definitely evolved into a new practice.
Yeah, and it's
Yeckiness.
listen, there's much less as time goes on.
Are you proud that you're a
Very
Yeki?
much. I'm very proud of like what my family.
Do you guys have
brought
like
to the
a
community.
reunion, like a get together once a year? All the
Yekkes?
Yekkes come.
No.
Is there a convention?
Well, they used
No.
to.
Is there a
They used to-
convention
the,
for
the,
Yekkes?
The broiler dinner used to
Dinner
be
used
like
to
the
do it,
convention.
yeah.
You know,
No.
it was like a.
Not really.
They don't have that anymore.
But I believe that the rigidity that you're talking about comes from that we always were very meduik in our minhagim, right? And like you said in the shul, like they're very careful not to talk in shul and the proper decorum for shul.
Yes.
And like you can't get an aliyah in broyers without a tie.
Really?
You can't get called up on Shabbos without a tie.
It's improper.
Yeah, it's not covered. So they have all these different minhagim for covered basic nesses, and I think that like permeates into people's personality that they sort of look rigid. But if you know a lot of Yekkes, like
I want to give a shout out to one Yeki that I know, and I'm going to call him out because he deserves it. And this is one of a kind family, and they happen to be a very big entrenched in the Yeki community. Maybe you know them, the Meyer family. I don't know if you know who they. Do you know them?
sure.
A bunch of kids.
That is one thing about Yekkes, by the way. A lot of them know each other.
Oh, of course. I think we all.
They're not
Very
a big
small-
community. How many Yekis are there? I mean, it can't be
No,
that
there's
many.
a lot of
There's
Yekkes.
There's a lot?
Yeah.
And there are Yekkish communities now in Eretz Yisrael and
Really?
Really?
in New Jersey and Baltimore, different places. Yeah,
Like
I wouldn't say it's highly growing, but
Right.
Yeah.
people.
You guys don't like live together or make your own little community.
No,
Just
but-
spread out all over the
That's
place.
not true.
but
We
the-
had a community.
We had.
It was Washington Heights. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody
And
lives in Washington
there
Heights.
still is a community in Washington Heights.
and you
There's
have
still-
Tannersville for the
Do Yekis support
Okay, so-
Yekis? Do you guys like give business to each other? Like, do you automatically when you hear someone else's Yeki feel connected
No.
to them?
Um,
Do you guys hate each other?
Sure, there's definitely connection. Hate, no, but there's definitely connection with other Yekkes. Listen, why else would I?
No, because by Chesed, like Hasidic person from Kiryas Yol, from Monroe, or from Williamsburg, like if they have an opportunity to give business to someone who's not from the community or somebody who is, they will. They will give precedence to
Yeah.
somebody who's connected.
I
to
don't
them.
think we
Do
have
Yekis
that.
have that
I
kind of
don't think-
camaraderie between each other.
I don't think so, but just by the definition of someone's Yekkish, and they probably grew up with each other in Washington Heights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you'll probably know the families, and you're somehow probably related. You know, like Stefan's grandfather, for example, like created the bakery, and all the, the Big Grunebaum's company, and so he was a staple there. And my grandfather was the Rav there, and so you just know each other. And you mentioned the Myers, right? So Manny
Wonderful
Meyer.
people.
Wonderful. He was my
If they're
father.
a representation of what Yekis are about.
Very much. Okay,
and the
but
kind of
this-
lives
yes.
that they live.
Yeah,
I
but
have to
they're-
say, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I might need to request if I can join this club because I'm big fans of this family. But they were just a dynamic family. The hospitality is off the charts. By the way, they're pretty well to do. They're pretty well to do. You'll never know it. They're very regular,
Exactly.
plain, simple people.
Well-
They don't flaunt anything, and they're always there to help someone else. Just really kind, good-natured, quality people. And one thing that stands out about them is that they're Yekkis. They're big
But
Yekkis.
it's funny you say that because like the way you're describing them is the way I would describe most Yekkis that I know.
Really?
Understated. A lot of them have money. You don't know it.
Not private jetting all over the place.
Correct.
Makes sense. So that's something that's a good stigma that, is positive. But listen, we spent a lot of airtime on Yekke. And I appreciate the education.
No, but I
I like
appreciate,
it.
I
Because I've
appreciate you
known
bringing up
different-
Tannersville. I love Tannersville. Tannersville is a very soft heart in my spot in my heart. I love it.
Yeah.
I've been going there. I believe I know I'm 53, so 53 straight summers.
Wow.
My kids are going up there for Shabbos as we speak.
What is this, Tannersville?
Tannersville, one word, Tannersville.
You guys have a house there? Like it's a family?
We have a number of houses. Yeah, everything centers around the shul, but
Right.
there's actually 4 shuls already. There's a Hasidic shul, there's a big Lubavitch shul, there's a beautiful day camp. We have, my mother's been there for 70 years already.
Wow.
It's a
Are
beautiful
Yekkis
place.
particular about marrying other Yekkis or they don't care?
So that used to be much more like that, but
It
not
used to
anymore.
be like that.
None of my kids married Yekkis.
Did you attempt at least to like,
I'm always interested.
was that on your list
sure.
of things when you had for qualifications? Like,
No,
try to see if you can get another
Definitely
Yekkish
not,
family.
but the girls are looking for the 3 hours. I would say that. And some of my son-in-laws are seriously considering taking up that
Oh,
minhag.
you have a pretty popular son-in-law, Moshe Tischler.
Yes, Baruch
Yes.
Hashem, very proud of my.
I called
proud
him.
of all my son-in-laws.
I called him before the show here today.
Oh, seriously?
I said, give me a fun fact.
Oh, that's
Follow
not
him.
good. That's not good.
And
He for
what-
sure mentioned the gym. I'm sure. 'Cause-
That's exactly
but by the way, he goes to the gym with me.
Which gym is this
Moshe's
again?
in that gym.
Who's this guy,
Generation
Moshe? Who is he?
Moshe Tischler.
No.
My son.
Stop it, Ushy. Stop it.
I don't know Moshe
Come
Tischler.
on. He's like the #1 wedding singer.
The number one wedding singer?
Yes.
That's not Lipa Schmelzer anymore?
Not for the Litfish.
Does he have records? Does he put out music?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, he does?
I guess he didn't reach you.
Yeah, he started a little while ago, but he has a beautiful voice.
Give me one of his songs, one of his popular songs.
No, it's not about his popular songs. It's about how well he sings at weddings.
Exactly.
And how he
He's
performs at a
really-
wedding and how he brings his energy and is just, it's beautiful. And not to say that Barry Weber doesn't kill it at every wedding,
Right.
but Moshe Tischler is known to be the wedding singer.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
I think
Besides that, he's been coming out with his own
I think he's the
songs.
best wedding singer right now.
The best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you're a father.
You asked me, he's the.
What does
you-
he charge?
I
What
wouldn't-
does he charge for a wedding?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know.
Is it in the 15, 20,000 range?
No, it's definitely under 10.
He's not the best.
No,
We
not
had-
the most expensive.
We had
It
somebody
doesn't mean-
on not too long ago. He charges $18,000
That's
a night.
because he's a musical sensation, nationally, worldwide recognized with albums.
He has
but,
more
but the boy,
notoriety.
yeah, but the
He's known
boys,
more.
all the Chassanim want the boys who are the singer who's energetic, beautiful voice, pumps up the crowd.
He's an entertainer also.
But he has a crazy voice.
Really?
Beautiful.
Okay, we'd love to hear a clip.
And
Maybe
that's
Steph
my
can
son.
pull up a.
And he, but, he
little
gave,
clip.
but he gave your daughter 6 hours.
He did,
Beautiful
exactly.
voice, nice mirror.
Oh yeah, if Moshe could take on 3, he would in a second.
You could do those things, by the way. You can adapt.
I do have relatives who've done that.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
from 6
Does
to
he
3.
do this for a living?
Moshe, yes.
Oh, that's his full-time gig.
Yeah, yeah.
He
So
goes to work.
a little bit more about your background. So you're an attorney, and you started.
Real estate law. I have a firm called Silverberg and Kirschner. Almost
Nice
30
Jewish
years ready.
proper name for a law firm.
Very,
Love it.
very.
Yes.
Mayor Silverberg is my partner.
Oh, I know Mayor Silverberg
Okay.
from Forche.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, so now she's excited.
Yeah.
We've been
I-
partners for almost 30 years.
I don't know him. I'm talking as if we're friends. You know.
You know about Naftali's son? Naftali Silverberg?
Isn't Naftali your father?
The father, yeah.
Mayor's the son.
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you got
Of course.
it. That's it.
I grew up in Forche. I know that. So he doesn't know me probably, but I know him. And he was very cool. He was always very hip. He was always, very, is he Yekke by any chance?
No. Oh, he went to Breuer's, but he's nice.
There you go. See, I
we
see
met
that.
first in Breuer's.
I'm starting to get this down
I don't
pat.
care.
I'm so
Dad
very-
is also very well known.
Yes,
very,
very involved in the community in a lot of ways.
community activist, philanthropist.
He's part of Hatzalah.
I wanted to talk a lot about the Chesed things that I do, but when I was preparing to meet you guys, you mentioned it. You brought it out right now. His father, Naftali Silverberg, is, I always consider him for sure my mentor. My mentor in the
Makes
world of Chesed. He's fantastic. He's a great example of Yekke, but not being Yekke. He's a strong attorney. He's a successful real estate owner, developer, attorney, but has done so many Chesed projects and
How old is he now? He's got to be really
Hatzalah.
old.
Yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, he was
He's
old.
older.
Michael's Mayor's already. If I'm 50,
Not Mayor. How old is Naftali? He's got to be in his
gotta be
80s.
almost
70s, 80s.
No, he's in his 80s. For
80s.
sure.
Sure.
And he's still involved in Hatzalah, and
Wow.
I'm on the board with him in Hatzalah, and he was the president for a long time. He's great. Yeah, that's the family.
So you started off as an attorney. It's the first thing you did.
I
career?
started working for Silverberg when I came out of law school, and then we became partners a few years later, and never looked back.
Oh, nice.
What kind of law? What kind of law?
Just transactional real estate, buying, selling, refinancing,
not criminal.
only
law,
real
so-
estate.
That's a boring.
Not the fun stuff.
only the fun stuff.
Not the stuff I see on TV.
Tell me what gets fun. When it
I
comes
always
to
say
real
it's
estate.
not the real law stuff. It's not like the courtroom litigation stuff,
Yeah.
which I would be terrible at.
Tell us a fun story that happened with you as a lawyer.
I will tell you. I'm glad you asked that. I can tell you a great story of people always say, "What's your most memorable closing?" I think my most memorable closing was Michael and I had like a 3-day closing. Imagine, you've been to real estate closings, right?
Yeah.
Businesses.
I mean, how big was
2
this
hours.
transaction?
It was actually a flip. So it was, let's say, a $55 billion flip of a hotel. It went from day through night to day through night. It went constant.
But everybody constantly was
We
in the
had
room.
bank lenders. We
You
had
took no
mezzanine
breaks, but
lenders.
you were revolving around
Everyone
the room
was
for 3
in
days.
this room. All you did was kept on bringing the food.
Wow.
Interesting.
It was nonstop because with all the different parts to this, it was nonstop.
And how much money was this flip? You said
Over
Like,
50 million.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought you said billion. That's what
No.
I wanted to make
No,
sure
no.
I caught it right. Okay, so $50 million flip. All right.
But that's not the exciting part. The exciting part is that I got a kidney stone during the closing.
Oh boy.
And I get them sometimes. And it's excruciating. I don't know if any of you have had it. Chas v'shalom, you should never have it.
No. Heard
It's
about it.
excruciating pain. And I tried to go through it, but I couldn't. So they rushed me to the hospital from this closing and started giving me fluids. And then Michael showed up like a half hour later and said, Uri, I knew you at the closing. I took the bag and we went to the closing. And I finished the closing with the bag like hooked up. Yeah.
Like your IV bag?
Yeah, they're liquids. I needed liquids. So
Wow.
we got that closing done. That was probably the craziest closing.
Yeah, a lot of money at stake. Sometimes you gotta suffer through it.
100%.
And he
you want,
did.
You want them to hire you again. There's been some good ones.
So take me through your career, your life, because I know that you started getting involved in a lot of organizations. You started one here that we're going to talk about, but how did that come about? You know, it's not so simple to start an organization. I can tell you from experience.
So I think it really does start in Washington Heights and with the Yekke background. I think so. Like I was telling you, my grandfather was Rav Breuer. The amount of Chesed that went on through Washington Heights, through the Breuer family, through the Kirschner family, from my grandfather. I'm Stefan can tell you. Do you remember the Gemilas Chesed blood drives, like that stuff? There was just always something. I think Chesed was a big part of my family. My grandfather used to do it, the Breuers, and it was always in me. And my parents were always having guests. The YU program with the Iranian Bachram coming every Friday night. I was raised on it, and Chesed is my passion. I love it. I say, like, if only I didn't have to work, I would love to do my projects all day. Hatzalah, the 100 ride, Yechiel, all these other, the one I was telling you about before with the weightlifting. There's so much that I've started and involved with.
No.
I wish I could do it all day.
This happens once.
His phone?
Yeah.
Even though I tell him to turn it.
Yeah.
So
This never happened, by the way, for the record.
We edit it out.
need
It
to
happens
take
it happens every podcast.
So
So inappropriate. So inappropriate.
You want to take it?
He's literally talking about like so many chesed organizations.
You're right.
And he's about to like lay it on thick, and your phone rings.
Hold on a second. Maishi, we went through that segment already. We're good. Thank you.
No, so I think I just grew up with it, and I love it. And actually married my wife, who's huge at it as well. She runs a fantastic, with her friends, she runs a fantastic organization called Mindy's Place. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Mindy's
No,
Place.
what is it?
It's in my basement. It's a fantastic ladies secondhand clothing store, which is a client has to, let's say, be referred by their Rav or by an organization, and they get vetted out, and they come to the store. It's downstairs in our house, but it's a beautiful boutique store. And the clothing that they take there is only like top line secondhand clothing. And the people who come there purchase the items. They don't get it for free. They purchase it for $3 an item. And I'd say in the past 10, 11 years, they've given out and distributed over 10,000 for sure pieces of clothing, for sure, much more than that. And it's in memory of Mindy Cohn, who was my wife's a very, very close friend who was Niftaris around that time, 10, 11 years ago. And this is a beautiful chus for her. So my wife does that.
That's beautiful.
I don't know, we love it. We love it. It's the best thing in the world, you know. Hashem runs
Michael,
with Chesed, we try to do that.
You really, like, you're crushing me.
I undersold him, you're saying?
You're crushing me. You need to stop doing you bring people on the podcast. This is like our 46th episode. And we've met so many people, and like you hear their stories and how they're talking. And I don't know you that well, and I'm just getting to know you a little bit, and I'm hearing about your passion projects, and I want to get into all of them. I want to learn exactly what it is that they do. But like, this is what you're busy with. Like, this is like, after this podcast, I'm going to go back to my desk, and then I'm going to go back to my life, which is not what you're doing. But you're making me feel bad about myself. I really am. I'm serious. And I say this all the time. It's true, Michael. Right. I say in the podcast all the time is that there are so many incredible people in this world and in our community that are living next to us. They're walking amongst us. They're just busy about other people. I gave out 10,000 dresses. I set up this program so people who can't afford it and can still feel good about themselves. He's thinking about other people. His wife's thinking about other people. And it's just like, it's amazing. I feel honored and inspired that I'm a part of this community.
So one second.
I can call myself a Jew, and that there are like.
That's incredible.
I really am. I feel
right,
honored
though.
just for letting me be a part of it, grabbing onto people's
That
ankles.
was a compliment.
I appreciate it.
I wasn't sure where you were going with this. Was it a compliment for me? Like,
Not for you.
oh no, because I'm bringing in guests that do good things.
For the guests that
Oh,
we had, it's a
insult-
compliment to us.
Oh, okay.
To the Jew, the glorification
community.
of the Jews.
Yeah.
It really is just
And
amazing.
our podcast for bringing
Yes,
it all
yes.
out.
Yes, of course.
We know
but,
that.
Yeah.
Mikam Yisrael, this crazy.
Yeah, but I walk
crazy
away
things
sometimes
that go
feeling
on.
like, what, you know, I need to
you
do
were
better. I need to do better.
You were
I need
number
to do
one in the
better.
bowling league for the camp fund.
Right, that's my
You
credentials.
know, that's
That was my credentials. You heard that?
That's good.
That I won a bowling tournament a couple of times in a row, and I'm proud of it. And I have the trophy in my office
go.
to come prove it to you. But like, that's my claim to fame. Yeah.
well, you know what? I think you have like 15 years on him, so you got a couple of years to.
That's what
figure
I'm
it out.
saying. Tomorrow's another day.
Good.
I can do
little
better.
by little, by
Yeah.
little.
But I digress. Go
No,
back
you're not
to-
digressing.
please,
Because
go
one
back
thing
to
you
the-
said is so true. Like, you don't realize who's involved in what. Like,
Unbelievable.
when you start speaking to people, there's so much of this that goes on. There's so many people, let's call them regular people, who are doing huge things. There's a guy I know in my shul. Like one of the passions is to give out tefillin. It's called Yechiel. It's my named memory of my father, and he was very into Sefer Torah mezuzahs. I love getting tefillin, giving them out to people that need tefillin. There's a guy in my shul nobody knows. He gave out over 400 pairs of tefillin on his own, and I only found out because I had a question which came back to him. There's guys doing huge things that you don't know. And
they're rampant. They're all over the place. Like I was telling him, we live next to each other. I don't really know him. I don't think I've ever seen him before. And I'm just hearing about these incredible. I've seen the 100 ride. I have seen that.
Good. I'm glad that you've seen that.
Obnoxiously, I've seen it. By the way.
Well, good. I hope
Incessantly, I've seen that.
That couldn't be enough.
They've ruined my day once or twice.
No. Let's back up for a second.
We're gonna get there in a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like I've seen, and here he is. So he's right. Like these are unknowns. These are not people that are touting everything that they're doing. They're not advertising it. But any Jewish community, no matter where in the world you are, there's going to be half the people that are giving, half the people that are taking. But it's a mathematical equation that works, and that's what makes our nation so great. And I think secretly that's why people are jealous of us. They don't hate us; they're jealous. They hate us how jealous they are of us. I think that's what it comes down to, because no one is left behind in the Jewish community. No one's left behind.
Why do we do it? Because
why do you do the?
Why do we all do this?
Yeah.
Well, because
we're part of a very small club. We have to stick together
because we love each other. Everyone loves each other.
At the end of the day, except Stefan. Sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
Well,
I see Maishi Tisha up there.
I wanted to hear a song of his.
It's one of the secret sauces, I think, also in general of being happy is giving, and it's something that just like when you're part of that world, we're happier people in general.
But we say to Nishmas every day that Hashem created the world with Chesed, so that's why we thrive on it.
Yeah.
The more you tap into it, I think you're tapping into creation.
So I have to tell you, Uri, when I'm driving on the road, whether it's in Muncie or anywhere else, not so much in Brooklyn, and sometimes you ever space out while you're driving a little bit?
All the time. No, seriously. Sometimes I wonder, how did I get here?
Okay.
I don't remember the path.
Right. Also, especially when you're
You
following.
never had that before?
Ask my wife. She says that's all I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've all been there.
Especially when you're following Waze or whatever.
Yeah.
It happens. So, on the side of the road, you have those little bumps that wake you up sometimes, like, oh, thank God those are there. I have to tell you, those little bumps have saved my life probably 10 times already.
That's why they're there.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what else is there on the side of the road? Bikers. I can't tell you how much they frustrate me. And it's not because I'm not a biker, and I know everyone's going to think that. And I just have to tell you, it's so dangerous what you guys are doing. And it bothers me. And I want to bring it out because, of course, the chesed part that you're doing from it, we could talk about in a minute. But what about the dangers of it?
And also, I will add to that before you answer.
You haven't even tapped on all of it.
They feel very entitled as well, the bikers. Like they get upset if you, as a car,
give me the road.
You didn't go further around him far enough, and like they feel like, I'm here just as much of a right as you. No, you're not. I'm driving a vehicle, an actual motor vehicle I'm driving. You're driving a bike. You should be at the sidewalk somewhere and the sidewalk. Like they also feel very entitled. Like they get upset at you if you don't respect them and their space on the road.
It's bad enough that the larger riders are wearing these spandex suits that are so difficult to look at.
Yes.
Which, that's a whole. You said there's other challenges. Please tell me what else.
No, it's actually worse than you say.
Yeah.
What about when the roads are wet? So you're talking about just like you're on the side of a busy road, but then you've got wet roads, then you've got potholes, then you've got our tires. We're not talking about mountain bikes here. We're talking about road bikes.
I'm not up to feeling bad for the bikers themselves.
No, it's even more dangerous than you think.
No, of course. No, I know the dangers.
How do you deal with the
bikers.
danger? So
I'm saying I'm curious about the laws. You're a lawyer.
Yeah,
right?
there is law. There are laws.
What is the law? I mean, if I'm going on a windy road and there's no room for a biker and I have to move to the other side of the lane, literally to oncoming traffic to protect this biker.
Like if I drive a go-kart on the street, I'm sure a cop will pull me over.
No,
right?
let me tell you. So unless
like
it's
a bike,
highway,
like, are they allowed to? Like, what's the law?
Unless it's a highway or unless it's a highway like Palisades Parkway, throughway, bikers are allowed to be on any public road. So, however, you're not allowed to be two bikers wide. So when you see guys like schmoozing with each other on a Sunday ride in front of Wellesley Kosher on Route 306, they're not supposed to be two bikers wide. And I've often been on rides where cops pull us over and give you tickets for being two people wide. You can only be one. You might have seen these pelotons of bikes. They're all one person wide. So they are allowed to be on the road. You do have to make room for them if they could legally be there. But they're not allowed to be two people wide.
Beyond the white line, they have to be.
Yeah.
I don't
They
know
can't
about
be
that.
on the actual.
You're sure they can.
Oh, they can.
They can't be.
They
on
can
the
be in
other
the middle.
Your side of the white.
So
line.
I have to
Yeah.
drive behind him and go at his
Yeah.
speed.
Well, you have to just watch out for him.
Really?
But you're not going to see him
Legally,
on
they
the-
can do that.
but not on highways or.
I understand. I forget about highways,
Which
just on a regular
sometimes
road.
happens, and I've had it on the 100 ride. Oy vey, one time when a guy ended up in the Palisades,
And what happened?
we lost him. We lost him.
What do you mean he ended up?
We
on
were in
the
Harriman
Palisades?
Park, and we're looking for this guy. He was a Brooklyn rider, actually. And where is he? Thank God we got a phone call from him. He's at like exit 13 on because you know at the bottom of Harriman Park, there's that entrance on.
Yes, you automatically end up.
he was on the Palisades.
Ah, okay, it makes sense now. It's
and
not so hard
thank
to make
God
that
he stopped.
mistake.
There you can't be.
Right, but it is good
but
to
Michael,
know though, as
there's-
far as the law is concerned.
Did he not realize that he's the only person like on the road? Like
Right,
he didn't notice.
Some
no,
guys
because
love-
it's
yeah,
a
'cause-
sense of entitlement.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
belong
some guys
to the-
love being by themselves. Like, wait, I'm ahead of everyone.
I don't know. So the dangers are definitely there. I
Yeah,
your
and they're
neighbor,
worse than you
your
even know,
neighbor, by
Michael.
the way, which happens to be your rabbi, right? Rabbi Center. He had an accident too,
He did.
right? So,
So my other neighbor did as well.
right, and these can get
I
really
had two
dangerous.
neighbors, and she had a worse one than he did. She was riding in Harriman Park.
What's
and
more
she hit a
dangerous,
deer.
riding a motorcycle or a bicycle?
It gotta be a bike.
I would have to say
A bicycle.
motorcycle.
No,
Motorcycle?
Yeah, motorcycle. The speeds are.
because of the speeds,
Yeah.
right? Right. Yeah, but they're both pretty dangerous. Right?
But this neighbor of mine on the other side of Rabbi Center, she hit a deer going down in Harriman Park.
With her bike.
A deer, not a squirrel, a deer.
Wow.
And she got hurt, and there are accidents, and you have to be very, very careful. And that's why Rabbi Center, who's a big part of our ride, the whole Chavkei is very much into promoting helmets, even for little kids riding little bikes. It's their thing. Helmets is their thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a nice.
So there are
promote that.
precautions that we take, but we pray to God. And, you know, I was going to tell you, this 100 ride has nisim all the time, and that's our biggest nace, B'li Ayin Hara.
What is this 100 ride for? What is the cause about? How did this come about? Why did you start it?
So you mentioned Rabbi Center. It really started with Rabbi Center. You've heard of Bike for Chai. So when guys sort of fall out of the age of the softball every Sunday, and you sort of mature into the age of bikes. It's the way it is. Like when guys start to turn 30-ish, that's the right time for bikes because you're no longer running to first so fast. But on a bike, you can still get great exercise and not too dangerous other than being hit by a car. You're not going to pull anything. So that we all started getting into biking in our neighborhood in Wesley Hills, and we had like 10 guys doing, let's say, Bike for Chai, and you have to raise a lot of money for Bike for Chai. So Rabbi Center was like saying to me, it was on a Shabbos, it must have been in May, 11 years ago. He said, Uri, it's beautiful what you guys are doing, but we have Aniyim in Muncie. He says, it like almost hurts me that we're sending between just our shul hundreds of thousands of dollars out of our community for a great cause, but we have our own aniyim that we're dealing with here. I want you to make a ride. He didn't know anything about it. He said, I want you to make a bike ride 100% for our community.
Beautiful. Love that.
For Rockland. For
Love
Muncie.
you, Rabbi Center.
That was Rabbi Center's idea. And we were ready in May. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have that much time. But 6 weeks later, we had our first ride, and it was 2014.
How many people were on the first ride?
First ride had, I think, 39 riders. But we already had jerseys, and we had SAG support, and we had some police escorts, and we started in Yeshiva Spring Valley. I think we ended in Yeshiva Spring Valley. Had a nice loop. And we called it the 100 ride because not that it was 100 miles or 100 kilometers, which it's not. It's a choice of 30, 50, or 80 miles. You can choose. It's called the 100 ride because 100% of the money we raise, 100% of the money that the riders raise goes to the tzedakahs. No overhead,
Local
no
tzedakahs.
salaries, 2 tzedakahs. We collect every penny we make goes to Kupas Ezra 50%, Tom Shabbos 50%.
beautiful.
That's it. Between Kupas Ezra and Tom Shabbos, you've got Muncie covered.
Shout out to Rabbi Rosenstock and Rabbi Mashinsky, who
absolutely.
run these organizations. Phenomenal. Beautiful idea.
So everything we do is for them. Everything we do is for them.
How much do you raise?
So our first year we didn't raise much. We started like maybe 80,000, then it went to 100,000, and last year was already over $500,000 a year.
Wow.
That's a lot, by the way. Even
How many
80,
riders?
100.
How
So
many
you're talking about
riders?
11 years. We're so proud. That's like Chazdi Hashem. We've
That's a lot.
given millions of dollars to
$500,000. How many people? How many riders?
We typically have between 100 and 130 riders. This year, Bezrat Hashem will have more, I hope. For some of the new
And
things that we're
do you
doing.
have, what's the barrier of entry?
Male. Male.
Okay, I see.
Although there's a big push for a ladies' ride.
Okay.
Big push for a ladies'
Understand.
ride.
And why not? Why not?
Why shouldn't they?
shouldn't
Yeah.
there be?
So I
one,
looked
right?
into it for this year, honestly, in all honesty. There's just not enough from lady riders in Muncie.
How do you
Right.
know?
Let's
'Cause I
prove
know-
them wrong, guys.
My wife
Yeah,
is
put the
my
word
wife
out there,
is a
maybe.
rider. She knows the
How about
community.
I want to say the main reason is because, unfortunately, the reality is that the men raise more funds. I think about all these organizations, how many events are done for women versus men.
You know, they started now in
men,
Muncie
yeah.
Well,
recently doing.
What we are doing is we're making a kids ride. We're extending the 100 ride to a kids ride as well, which is going. The kids
cute.
raise the best money.
That's a nice.
Yes, that's
and
cute.
there's so many Kaninaha, and
Yeah.
and we're going to do a smaller ride.
I can't
for
wait
them.
to get a phone call from your kid.
Boys and girls.
Another yeshiva, another
Why not?
ride.
Why not?
Why
If
not?
it's kids, boys and girls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just saying.
Why not?
In Muncie, we started recently. I know, Stefan, you know about this. You're a fan of it. I'm a fan of it. I think it's great. I think in a lot of ways it's a little bit lame also, but there's certainly something about it where they're doing sports, organized sports for girls. They're making football leagues for
Our neighborhood
girls.
has.
They're making basketball leagues for girls. Like, it's always been geared and oriented
Yeah,
around
that's
the
really
boys,
nice, right?
making sure the boys have
We
activity.
have a football league in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
for
my
girls.
daughter's on it. Yeah,
Mhm.
she loves
Yeah.
it.
We got to be more inclusive that way, you know?
Definitely.
Like,
So that's the 100 ride, and this year is our 11th year. Last year was our 10th. It was a big year for us. This year will be Mir Hashem bigger.
and you run this organization?
So Rabbi Center gave us the idea, and I ran with it with my wife Tzippi and Moshe Goldblatt. We have a very small core of people that really. We have a lot of help. Everyone's volunteer. Nobody's salary. Nobody takes a dollar. Between Moshe Goldblatt, myself, my daughter-in-law Uri Kirschner, Rabbi Center, and Tzippi, that we're basically the core of it. And then we have volunteers which help us. This year, we really wanted to expand and get into so many communities in Rockland that I've never touched. You know, with the growth now of Thiels and Haverstraw and Airmont, there's so many places we've never been there.
That's a great idea.
So I called Morty Becker and Levi Osinski, and they are
Smart, very smart.
they're helping us
When
get
is it?
out there. June 29.
Okay.
June
once a year?
29. Once a year, one
June.
day a year.
And if you live in Rockland
It's
or you
always
don't live
the
in Rockland,
Sunday.
doesn't
So I got to be
Doesn't
out of
matter.
Muncie
We have-
June 29th. That's,
Yeah, don't go near. This year we're starting in.
is it a Sunday?
It's a Sunday.
The one day that I have to literally be in local roads constantly
always
back
the
and forth.
Sunday after school.
All of us are going about, carpooling and this, that, and we're going to have to deal with the
do you have,
flurry
do you have
of
a website to
riders.
sign up with or anything like
Yeah,
that?
it's www.the100ride.org.
It's the number 100, 100,
Yeah.
the 100ride.org. Okay, cool.
See there.
Yeah, I'm sure Stefan will include
So
it.
that's the 100 ride. It was Rabbi Center's brainchild.
Beautiful. Very, very nice. This week's episode, again, is brought to you by GEM Enrollments, an employee benefits program. Ushy, could you explain to our audience what an employee benefits program is?
GEM Enrollments is a concierge benefits enrollment program for your employees. They don't charge you anything for this service. They're a supplement to your HR team. They will personally manage very critical information for your employees about their benefits one by one. Make it very accessible for them. Any information that they need, they reach out to GEM Enrollments and they take that off your plate.
And as always, reach out to a Prime Source expense advisor to learn more about GEM Enrollments. And now back to our program.
Is there like a winner, like who comes in first? Do
No.
you have that?
No.
No.
But it's usually the same person who comes last every year. I have to say.
Of course.
It is.
If you had winners, maybe Ushy would
He's
join.
walking his bike towards the end.
No, he's an incredible person. I'll give him a shout out because he loves it. He calls himself the Briss Rabbi. His name is Rabbi Seplowitz. He's a tzaddik. He raises money in Fountain View and all these places for the 100 ride constantly. He's a tzaddik. He's also a mole, and he's very, very passionate about the 100 ride. And he's always on all of our jerseys. You'll see the Briss Rabbi.
I was hoping he's Briss Rabbi because he's a mole and not for
Yeah,
other reasons.
yeah. So he does not give up. Even if it's 1,000 degrees, he will finish the ride without being supported, and he usually comes in last.
You've done Bike for Chai, though, right?
Yeah, many
You still
years.
do it? Or
I did Bike for Chai many years, and I still do TNR, which is another ride. We do a lot of rides.
Beautiful.
You're
they're
a
all
big
Tzedakah
biker.
rides.
You're biking a lot.
How many miles is Bike for Chai?
So Bike for Chai is 2 days.
Okay, so it's
Bike
over
for Chai is
100 miles.
the first day is like 75. It's like 100 and
Right.
75.
And they have like 700 riders or something, right? So you're pretty good, by the way, for a local community bike gang.
And I think the potential is so much bigger.
Yeah.
I think all these communities which we haven't gotten to yet, it could be very big.
And everyone is stopping.
And then
to
the
ride
kids
bike.
ride is going to be huge too.
Yeah. I like
So-
that idea, actually, about the kids ride.
It exists in Lakewood. They've done one in Lakewood, which is really nice. So we're going to try that this year in Mitzvah Shem.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I have to tell you that growing up in Brooklyn, biking was everything to me, right? So we lived on a bike. We rode from one town. I don't know, did you grow up on a bike, Ushy?
Michael, I have like 2 more minutes left in me to talk about bikes. And
I'm just curious.
and then I'm maxing out. I'm just saying, like,
I could cut it out now. I was just curious about you riding a bike as a kid. No.
yeah, I rode a bike as a kid.
Yeah, but you don't
we all
go.
rode bikes.
That's
as
not your
kids.
mode of transportation.
But as adults riding bikes, you know,
No,
I don't play with Legos anymore. You know, I get it when you do it recreationally for exercise or you're doing it for a cause.
Never mind. Go ahead.
But
Ushy,
what
go
I was
ahead.
talking about at the beginning when I was saying obnoxiously and incessant, I was talking about the people that just their whole life is bikes.
Right.
Like bike. It's coming out of my ears and nose.
Right.
It's just, that's too much.
Correct.
It's too much.
there's a lot of too much of anything is annoying.
I think
Especially
I think that works that way in anything when it comes to health for some reason. You know, like when someone's the old thing.
No, but it's a fake exercise. It's not even real exercise. You're not really getting the blood, flowing. And
Right.
What are you saying? Of course it's a real
you're not
exercise.
lifting weights. You're not doing real cardio. It's the easiest cardio to do is to ride a bike.
Yeah, try going up a hill in Rockland County. See what happens.
Yeah,
What are you
we got some
talking about?
materials.
It's very, very difficult. Very challenging.
I don't know.
But
You know, I'm also traumatized a little bit because I was growing up.
Oh, now we want to talk about
I didn't have a bike.
there we go. No wonder why you changed the topic.
I'll be honest. I'll tell you a story.
Ushy, we're gonna get you a bike.
I might make you cry
Right
a little
here,
bit.
we're
Now
getting
it's
you a bike.
making sense.
I was about I don't know, 11 years old, something like that. It was before Bar Mitzvah for sure. So 11, 12, something in that range. And I didn't go to summer camp. My parents couldn't afford to send me. So I used to just stay at home and keep myself busy and find things to do. My neighbor, who just got a bike, a brand new bike, and he was going to sleepaway camp. So I thought, oh, you're on sleepaway camp. Like, I'm going to be home. Any chance I can use your bike
Right.
while you're going away? He said, sure. I said, just ask my father, Anyway, he said, okay, come pick up the bike. So this is the day he's leaving to camp. He lives on my block. I'm walking to his house. I'm all excited. I'm going to get a bike. And it was a driveway up. It was an uphill driveway. And I remember walking up the driveway, and I go into his garage, and I take the bike out, and I'm starting to walk it down, and my friend's father walks out of the house, and he sees me taking his bike, and he tells his son's, I don't want to say his son's name, the people might know who it is. He tells me, what's your friend doing? What's Ushy doing? I said, oh, I'm giving him my bike for the summer. He says, and if he breaks it, who's going to pay for it? Do me a favor, put the bike back in the garage.
This is why he's scarred. Right?
And I had to take the car, the bike back into the garage, and I walked home dejected.
And now we get.
I was bawling, I was crying.
Yeah.
And you know what?
No.
My father bought me a bike that summer. I don't know where he got the money. I don't know how he did it, but he saw what it meant to me, and he felt very sorry for me. He felt very sorry. He probably stole the money, but that's okay.
I thought maybe he stole
did
the bike.
he did what any good father would do. He went out and he made it happen. But that's, by the way, I'm not really so scarred from this. That's why I hate bikes for many other reasons.
So I'll tell you.
That's one of them.
I'll tell you that it's not about the bike, and I could get you being bored about the bikes. Some guys speak about biking like any other sport incessantly. It's about the tzedakah and about the chesed and about what it is. I'm telling you that this ride has nisim. I've personally experienced nisim with this. Every year, it's a tremendous amount of work, and it's backbreaking, and I never have the time for it. But every year, you experience nisim with this ride.
What do you mean, for example?
We see it. First of all, almost every year it's supposed to be terrible rain on the day of the ride. And it's not something you want, rain for the day of the ride. First of all, it's dangerous. No one comes to the barbecue.
Yeah.
Which is
That's your nemesis, the rain.
Exactly. And if it rains, I don't want to do a rain date. It's bad. Almost every year we get a rain, and in 11 years, only once has it rained that we couldn't do the ride. And this Rabbi Seplowitz, it was like our first and second year. Like the second he crossed the finish line, it started to pour. It was like pour, and it was like, oh my gosh, Hashem loves the 100 ride. And then 1 year, so every year we're supposed to get it, we never get the rain. But 1 year, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we was predicted to have a hurricane on the day of the ride, like a serious monsoon hurricane. So the night before, we're sitting there huddling together. Yosef Zupnik's a big part of the ride. He runs all the medical for us. He's fantastic. Rabbi's center. We're all sitting there. We even had meteorologists on the phone with us from who Bike for Chai referred me to. It's crazy.
Stop it.
But the night before the ride, and determining it's going to be bad. So Rabbi Center said, it's Sakanas and Fashas, we're canceling the ride. It's never happened.
You cancel or you postpone?
We postponed it till the end of August. We made double the money that year double.
You had more time.
Because we had another month to do it. We made 2 more parties. A lot more people started finding out about it. And the tzedakah doubled that year. So Hashem loves the 100 ride.
Hashem loves you. He loves you and everything that you're doing, what you stand for.
That.
And obviously, he's assisting you, and he's being an accomplice to everything that you're accomplishing.
You see it.
But he loves you. What about other organizations? So you do 100 ride. What else do you do?
I'm on the board of Hatzalah, but Hatzalah doesn't need any.
Yeah, what does that board member of
know,
Hatzalah do?
Exactly, we all know what Hatzalah does.
Who runs Hatzalah out here?
So Heshi Grinsweig is on, runs it now. You talking about the Muncie Hatzalah?
Yeah.
Since I joined Rockland Hatzalah, it also split.
Are you
up.
Hatzalah member?
No.
Oh,
How many Hatzalahs are
Those
there?
guys are awesome. I can't do that. It's not in me.
Crazy. Every shul has 2-3 members in Muncie. Every shul's got those 2-3 members.
Those are special
And
people.
they're very special people.
I think my wife could be one, but I'm not. And go about Washington Heights. We had lady Hatzalah members.
Really?
We had ladies in Hatzalah well before there was even thought of.
Shout out to my mother.
Was she?
Yep.
Your mother was a
Her-
Hatzalah member?
Her and Ruthie Katzenstein and a couple of other women. Yeah.
We had lady because all the Yekkish guys are always working. There was no Yekkish guys sitting at home or in yeshiva, so we had no one in Washington Heights for calls. So we had ladies on calls. It was great.
Say that again? The men didn't want to go to calls because they were too busy.
They weren't there. They were out at work. They were in the city.
They weren't local.
No one was in Washington Heights. They were all working.
I thought you were saying like they're so rigid, the Yekkis. Even when a Hatzalah call comes,
God, we're giving
I have a
Hashem more
schedule
ammo.
I have to
It's
follow.
so not rigid that we had
I'll
ladies.
fit that in from 4:30 to 4:45. I'll take a call.
It's a great point, Uri, by the way,
What?
because they're not rigid, that they had ladies.
Yeah.
Meaning I think there are Hatzalahs somewhere around the world that are just women. And it's,
Now, well, they started it, right?
Right.
They have it now.
Wasn't there a lot of politics in Brooklyn about
there's
this?
a lot of politics about Hatzalah
Isn't it called
everywhere.
Ezras Nasha?
Yeah, there's a lot. We're going to soon get the CEO of Hatzalah in our program.
Does that take up a lot of your
Talk a lot
time
about
being a
that.
board member of Hatzalah? No.
No.
Do you know Yechiel Kalish?
No.
Familiar with him?
Isn't he the CEO of Hatzalah?
He is, but
I
Hatzalah
think-
is in segments. So if he's on the board of just Rockland County, he would not know of the
It's crazy to me that it's still not all under one umbrella.
right.
And like it's not all branches under one corporate entity. It's crazy. It's all independent. And it all operates individually. It
Right.
almost doesn't make sense to me.
I think because they're all so huge. I don't know.
There is an
they're
app
very
though, that came
intricate.
out recently that allows you to call into Hatzalah anywhere you are in the world, and it's cool.
Yeah.
It's that's at
It
least
also
they're
might be
centralizing.
because so much of what Hatzalah does in each community is not controlled, under the auspices of the Rabbanim. And I think, how do you have universal Rabbanim?
Right.
You have Rabbanim who are machshir on that Hatzalah and this Hatzalah, and we work within our Rabbanim, our rabbinical board, and I think all of them
You
do.
can't have universal
So that
Rabbanim
might be
tell us
why.
to support Israel or not. I'm saying
that might
you
be
know.
why.
I understand, but there's also a drawback to it. They're missing out on a lot of that volume that they can leverage altogether.
A shout out to Eli Rowe. Eli's incredible with Hatzalah Air. What they do is, we had some things over Pesach. He was amazing. He's an amazing guy. There was some people that needed help on Pesach, and I called him out of just desperation. He was incredible. He was offering. He got sprinters, and
Yeah.
he's like, I
He's
didn't
very
think
resourceful.
I didn't think I was going to reach him. But why would I even reach him?
Yeah.
And picked up the phone.
He's
and
accessible.
He helped us.
Yeah. He's also another
That's an
wonderful
example
person.
of people are crazy. They do
Yeah.
beautiful chesed.
And also like such outrageous, outlandish things that we do for others. Like thinking about what he's doing, he's flying people on private jets for medical reasons, like on a whim's notice.
Medical jets. not
He's got
just-
helicopters. He's got
Yeah.
Humvees. He's got like all kinds of gadgets and equipment, expensive stuff, expensive. And the fact that somebody even thought about it to say, I want to do this.
Were you involved, Uri, in a cemetery here in Muncie?
Oh gosh, where did you get that from?
Is that a thing? I think a little birdie told me.
There was what's it called now? Har Shalom,
What
the
is
new
that?
cemetery.
So I'm saying we're trying to find out all the little things that you're involved with.
That's
You're
funny.
Hatzalah, where
No, that comes from my legal work. I represented the buyers of that cemetery,
I
of
see.
the land, which for me was a first. Talk about like doing things that you don't know anything about and
Yeah.
getting it wrong. So that I had never represented people buying a cemetery before, and I learned a lot of new things about cemeteries.
I actually just met a guy in Rockland County that's him and his family all own cemeteries.
it's an
I
amazing.
wanted to get him on the program
it's
here.
a
It's just
great
such a
business.
fascinating.
I imagine this got
It's a
great
great
tenants. So I imagine it's good real estate.
I think it's a
business.
great business.
It's a dying business.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish I had like a bum chicken.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I had to learn on the fly on that one how to buy. It wasn't a cemetery yet. It was just a big land purchase which they wanted to use as a cemetery. So you think
They knew in advance they're buying the property to turn into a
Correct.
cemetery, right?
So can you do that anywhere? Like, can you just get land anywhere?
And just turn it into a cemetery.
You would think so.
I imagine not.
You can't.
Right.
Yeah. It's gotta
New
be
York,
zoned
in New York, there's
cemetery.
2 laws in New York, which I found out about. One is it has to be minimum of 10 acres. And the
Okay.
second is it needs to be attached to an existing cemetery already. You
What?
can't just like take over Palisades Mall. Well, you probably could take Palisades Mall because there's a little cemetery there. But you can't just take any huge 10-acre thing and turn it into a cemetery. It
Has
has
to
to
be
be
adjacent
attached
to another
an existing
cemetery,
cemetery. So they found this. There's some Christian cemetery behind it. And
Yeah,
unfortunately,
but I feel like
it's been
eventually you
filling
run
up.
out of options. Eventually,
So that's why they did this. Because no,
you're gonna have to start something like how many attachments to an
but it's a
existing
great point,
cemetery are there?
because I needed to draw up contracts and stuff for this, and I'm like trying to find attorneys who've worked in this. How many people have done cemetery deals? There's just not that many new cemeteries that come up in New York. So I did a lot of research trying to find the proper documents and.
Is it a
laws.
lucrative business? Is it in high?
I mean, think about it. Think about
I'd
how much
imagine there's
people
little
pay.
supply and high demand.
Not just that, but think about the little amount of space that people are paying such a big amount of money for.
And I found out, which I found that through unfortunate circumstances, there's different prices for different people, and for how fast you need it.
Right.
Like, God forbid, if something happens tragically, 1 minute to the next, and you need something, there was no plan. They didn't know that this individual was going to die, and they want a good spot, or they charge you more money
An
because
emergency rate?
yes,
I never heard of that.
yes. I'm sorry to say it, but it's very political. Also,
We'll find out. I'm going to bring that guy.
there's a
here.
lot of
Ask
politics
these
involved. Also, if you
questions,
want to
yeah.
get buried in a certain like
What
part of-
area? Yeah.
especially by Hasidim, if you want to get buried in a certain type of,
What you're allowed to.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And these people, like, they take the bidding price based on how much they think they can get from you. It's almost like a used car salesman. They're judging on the spot how much they think they can get.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, I never saw that.
And
haven't
it's
seen
not like uncommon practice. Supposedly that
Ushy,
this is
I'm going to get someone in
this
that
is
seat.
the world of how it works in
I'm going to
cemeteries.
get someone in
I
that seat
could-
to answer those
Now,
questions.
if you
I could refer you to
prepay,
someone.
if you prepay for
I
it,
could refer you to
someone
someone
that
who knows about
owns
it.
cemeteries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
and
someone in the community in Rockland.
I actually represent. It's not even the first. Now that I'm thinking about it, I also represented someone who bought a cemetery in Eretz Yisrael. So,
Right.
So I can refer you to a few cemetery people if you're really interested. Most people haven't asked
We're
me.
dying.
About
We're
that.
dying to hear.
we're dying to know.
all right.
I'm also on the chevra. That's a different thing.
So
That's amazing
you-
work. To
you
do
start-
chevra kadisha work is
Of course,
amazing.
Yeah,
And
we should get someone
and
in
I-
Hever Kadisha,
Yeah.
Michael, on the podcast.
No, the person who I'm thinking of, his father was in Chevra Kadisha, and then his brother is in a funeral homes. Apparently, there's a law in New York that you're not allowed to own a cemetery and a funeral home. Kinda
Really?
interesting. Yeah.
Doesn't the cemetery have a funeral home?
Well, like I said, we'll get someone on the program.
Well,
We'll learn a little bit
I'm
more
on.
about
I'm
that.
on the chevra kadisha of Breuers,
Really?
and I can tell you honestly, there's nothing that you will have done in your life that makes you feel the chesed when you do a tara.
Mm.
The first tara that I did was actually in Tannersville. Crazy story. My father was on the Chevra Kadisha. You ask how these things happen because people's parents do it. So my father was on the Chevra Kadisha in Breuers, and we were in Tannersville for the summer. And turns out there's a Jewish guy, a Jewish guy who dropped dead on the golf course in Tannersville, and his family wanted a Jewish kfura. So my father came to the house. He goes, "Uri, I need you." I go, "What?" He goes, "We're doing a tara." I go, "What? I've never done a tara. I don't know what I'm doing."
For those that are listening, I don't know what a tahara is. It's a purification process that we do for people that die before we bury them. It's very intense, very laborious.
It's
Really thoroughly clean the body.
Yeah, really thorough is like an understatement of how you have to clean the body. So my father just took me to this tara in a Goyish funeral home in Tannersville, and it was very hard. I don't know how many details you guys want me to give on a
ahead.
podcast.
No, I don't know if I want to hear the
Yeah, I'm
details.
not sure
right.
you want to hear
I
this.
want to hear.
He's
I wanna
right.
hear-
You can
I wanna
always
hear-
edit, right?
Go ahead.
Oh,
There's the bodies need covered during a tahara, and
Respect.
this wasn't a frum person. This was a person who was Jewish but not affiliated at all. And like before the body even came to us, his eyes had already been donated to science. He had that on his card. Wow. So when we received this body, it already was in a very, very difficult state to do a tahara on. That was my first tahara. But afterwards, I remember saying to my wife, I have never felt so holy as I did after that tahara. Because who's thanking you? Nobody's
Right.
thanking you.
ultimate kindness.
It was amazing. And then I joined, right after that I joined. And Baruch Hashem, I don't do that many.
Wow.
Uri, what's coming out of your world in terms of other?
I don't know.
You
Well,
mentioned-
there are things coming, like the Per Yechiel is coming,
which is
that the Tefillin
Okay.
in memory of my father.
Beautiful.
Like I said, my father was very into was nifter.
Which is what you'll buy a pair for anybody that wants to.
No, it's a much better idea. It's a much better idea.
What is it?
Per Yechiel is if someone experiences. I hope you guys have never experienced this, but if your father is nifter, right? So my father was nifter, and I got his tefillin, right? But not only did I get his tefillin, I got his father's tefillin, because my father never threw away his father's tefillin. So when my father was nifter, Stefan remembers him, I got 3 pairs of tefillin. What are you doing with those tefillin? You're not giving them to your son for his bar mitzvah, because everyone gets their son a beautiful new pair for the bar mitzvah. I'm not wearing them because I already have mine. So everyone just puts these pairs of tefillin into the basement, and they just gather dust. I'm telling you, most people will have a few pairs of tefillin somewhere in their closet or in the basement. You probably do. And they're not being used. So Per Yechiel asks people to send us your tefillin, and I will take these tefillin. I get them checked. We bring them to a cipher. He checks them. He's biting them. Sometimes they're usable. Sometimes they're not. We rate them. We fix them. We rate them. We put them in a beautiful new bag, and we give them to organizations in Eretz Yisrael, organizations in America where they need tefillin. There's an endless demand, Baruch Hashem, in Eretz Yisrael right now for tefillin. And the beautiful thing is that if someone donated those tefillin to me, we take them and we put them in a beautiful bag with that person's name and his yahrzeit on it. So when this boy in Eretz Yisrael is putting on tefillin, he sees this person's name every time he puts it on.
really nice.
So that's one of the things we're kicking off. It's been going on for a little while, but we're
I'm
trying
just
to
curious.
push
You
it
want to
to the
like
next year.
totally degrade me? You want to totally strip me of the little dignity
Let's
that I
keep
have
going.
left?
Let's keep
No,
going.
I
No,
just
that's
wish I
not-
could
I
do
think
this
we're
full
done here.
time.
Michael, people are like getting creative also in ways how they can help people.
Yeah.
It's not just like the good old fashioned, here's $10, go buy yourself something nice. It's like, let me do something meaningful
Right.
as well.
Creative.
Something that's gonna touch your heart, and you can help 2 people at the same time.
You see a need. Yeah, but that's amazing, right? You're helping this guy.
The guy needs the pair to fill in.
Rabbi loved this idea. He says, "Uri,
It's
right
a
away
genius
when I
idea,
asked
by the
him-
way.
I asked him, he was like, "Uri, I have 3 pairs for you." Like immediately, people have it.
It's a genius idea.
It's expensive
Yeah.
to do, but
Yeah, you uplifted
Like
that
everything else, you gotta raise money.
neshama, that was nifter, and this kid that's proud of his tefillin, he's very into it. He's just starting, and every time he puts it on, he's looking at this person's name,
and it's in his chus.
And it's in his
Can you imagine
chus, in his
instead of
honor.
So instead of my father's tefillin, my father's
Yes.
tefillin are actually in the Ukraine now. So, so I gave them to a yeshiva in the Ukraine. But my father's tefillin, which would be in my basement on the ping pong table, are now being used by this boy in the Ukraine who sees my father's name every day on the bag. It's awesome. It's an awesome thing, and so I'm very close to the Chaim Tzvi Center in Eretz Yisrael from Center's Yeshiva. So he's my classmate from Breuer's, and he loved the idea also, and he hooked me up with some Seifrim in Eretz Yisrael, and since October 7th, you can't fill the demand. There are so many people who were not affiliated before who now want to put on tefillin.
So for anyone listening, if you have a pair of tefillin from someone, how do you get it to you?
Well, you can go to Per Yechiel, but it's better to just call me. Can I give my number?
Yeah, we'll put out your number on
Put
our
on my
site.
number. You just call me, and you can go to the website, but it'll just go much faster if you call me.
Right. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean-
and there's guys doing stuff like this. Not just me. Just you see a need. wanna jump
You have
on it.
more. You have more up your sleeve. I know because we discussed earlier about your working out.
Oh, that
gym,
that one's in the works. Yeah.
right. So you go to a local gym here,
I go to a gym in New City. Yeah.
and it's a special gym.
It's a one-on-one trainer.
Yeah.
His name is Essan. He's a great guy.
People swear by
Very-
him.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
What's so special about
I heard
this guy?
about
There's
it.
a lot of guys in our community who go to him. I could just say that. There's probably 20, 25 guys in our community who go to
Okay.
him. And he's one-on-one training, but there's usually 3-4 guys there at the same time training, and it's pure bodybuilding. He does weights and bodybuilding, but he's Jewish. His mother was Jewish, and his father was Iranian. But he's Jewish, and he's very, very highly respectful of all of his frum clients, and he actually. You were talking about Maishi, my son-in-law. Maishi goes to the gym, and he's very close with him as well. Maishi got him to start putting on tefillin.
Really
This week he started putting on, and
Nice.
says he's going to do it every day.
nice.
Beautiful.
That's cool.
I think Maishi just wants to get out of working out, so it just gives him a few minute breather.
So what's this organization you're trying?
So
to
what's your
you're
idea?
Thinking of?
So the idea is, I've noticed that like we noticed years ago how guys were getting into biking. so many people are getting into bodybuilding now, and I mean weightlifting,
Yes.
bodybuilding. I don't know if you've seen it, but I see it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an organization that we're in the works now, which will be a one-day event where people are pumping iron for tzedakah. And the idea is to do it for Almanas in Rockland County, which is I don't think there's a bigger zechus than supporting Almanas. So the idea would be that we think it's going to be pump it up to lift up. We are lifting up spirits of people. So Pump It Up will be the next weightlifting tzedakah organization that you will see in Mitzvah.
Wow.
That's
Can
what's
I
the-
recommend a song that
that's
you
in
play
the
in the
words.
background?
Yeah.
Pump it up, pump it
That's
jam.
good. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Very cliche.
Thank you.
I like
Thank
very
you. You don't even know that song.
Yes, I do. Yes,
you
I do.
really?
I do. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Pump
And,
iron, Ushy?
You're going to get Hans and Franz. Anybody know that? Come on. That's a Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live. I know Hans and Franz. Yeah. You're an organization junkie. I just want to put it out
I
there.
guess so.
And thank God you are. Thank God. Because many people are addicted to lots of things and they're not helping others. They're actually not even helping themselves. You wake up in the morning, how can I make an impact? How can I change people's lives for the better? How can I do something? And it's because of that mindset, Michael, that attitude that people like him have, is why we're all in a better place and we're all better for it. We're reaping the benefit. Thank God.
You know, it's cool. You know,
We're the recipients.
You know what's cool? You watch Shark Tank, right? And you wonder, what's someone going to come up with now?
Yeah.
I've seen all the Shark
Right.
Tanks already, right?
Yes.
Suddenly someone comes up with an idea like, oh my God,
Genius.
Exactly.
why didn't I think of that?
And how is there still something new that we haven't thought
And that's what
of?
I'm thinking about now. I wonder how many of our listeners are thinking, you know what, I have an idea for an organization. Like, put it in the comments. Let us know. And, maybe someone will start it because these are some great ideas. Congratulations to
Thank
you
you.
for starting these and actually doing them.
I would say, the way you're putting that out there, it's also good to join up with existing ones.
Yeah.
I've found that for me that it's easier when I have this idea to piggyback on someone else who's doing something similar, bring it to your neighborhood. A, it'll help you with so much of your startup, and B, you'll have the support that you need.
I like that idea. We've done that around a decade ago, actually, 10 years ago, with Tomchei Shabbos and Kupas Ezra.
Really?
Is 2 out of the 4 organizations that they help people get jobs. So we created Rockland Jobs Network.
Yeah.
And that way, if anyone needs a job in Rockland County.
I was with you at that meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember those.
So
we
that's
used to
still
go to
going
those.
strong, thank God. And
Michael, you have your own little network of getting people jobs and helping people.
yes.
Michael's very passionate about that. You enjoy it. It's almost
Well,
like
I
it's like
enjoy
a
it.
sport for him.
it's a sport for me to watch
It's
people
huge.
help build their careers. I mean,
Yeah.
It's the
You don't
Anytime
have to
someone
get-
even mentions an iota about looking for a job, go to Michael. Call Michael right now.
it's the biggest chesed.
You're actually doing him a favor if you call him because he really likes helping people find jobs because that is the ultimate chesed.
It is.
If you set somebody up for life that they could sustain themselves, they don't have to keep asking for help. That is the best way
I
to.
have to tell you that lately I've been meeting a lot of people who don't have any degrees of any sort, and they're in their 20s. They come back from yeshiva. One of the things I was thinking, by the way, is to get like a boy or two from yeshiva after school in Israel and talk to them about what now? You went to Israel for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You're not married yet. What are you going to do now?
What have they been doing for 100 years? We've always been in this position, and we've done quite okay for ourselves.
I don't know about
we
that.
figured it out. We're very resourceful people.
It sounds.
We're very intelligent.
I guess not enough
And-
people are coming to collect from you because ultimately it's not true. They end up.
No,
in cola.
I'm not saying it's a perfect science.
You don't have married children yet, right?
No.
Michael, I know does because I've watched your statuses. And when you have married kids, this is something you think about a lot.
Yeah,
We want them to learn.
It's
We
not
want-
so simple. By the way, and you're saying true. Yeah, we've done it for thousands of years, but there's a challenge with it.
No, I think the challenge is that the younger kids, that maybe even ourselves at one point, but they have high expectations. And they want to be rich very quickly.
So therefore what?
That's the problem we have. That's the epidemic. I think that if they want to go out and get a freaking job
It's a big part.
and start building a career for themselves, there's plenty of opportunity.
Right.
I don't want to hear this. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I have a job. Go get a job. There's so many places that are dying for people to come work and they can teach you a craft. So this way they can, make you part of the organization. Get started. Get going. Get off your butt and go to work. That's it. Don't give me this, Michael. He's 22. What's next? You feeling bad for him?
No.
Do you
so
feel bad for him? Don't feel bad for him. If he wants to find a way, he'll find a way.
It's not as
and
simple
work
as.
hard.
by the
We've
way,
all done it. We've all
I'll
been there.
I'll send you 20 guys that come to me in the past few weeks, and you tell them the same thing. You'll see it's a dead end because it's not so simple.
It's a dead end because they also want to drive a nice car. They also want to
No,
have
they
money in
also
their
wanna support
pocket.
a family.
They want to be no, Michael. They want to go to Florida 8 times a year because their friends are going. That's what it is.
No, I don't
if
agree
they
with
want to just go through the grind, like most average Americans do, that they don't have this mindset. Like, unfortunately, we've inflicted on ourselves in a big way in the Orthodox communities that we've created a high lifestyle for ourselves.
It's
and it's become the norm in a lot of
You're
ways.
both right.
It's the reality. No, either one of us is right. You have to take a side.
No,
Please,
I
give me a
think
minute
you're
to
both
make my
right.
argument.
Yes, I don't either appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Do me a favor.
By the way,
Don't
take a side.
Don't play both sides.
Don't placate us.
I will if you might
Both?
make me.
By the way,
give
that's
me a
what
minute.
this is what Yekis do.
Yeah. By the way, thank you.
I want you- I want-
There's the Yekke.
No, but
By the way,
Ushy-
this circles it all
No,
back.
Ushy, I
I'm
want
glad
to
we
circle
made it
back
here.
to you because what you're saying is so true, and it comes back to the Yekkes, which is they don't believe in what you just said. For Yekkes, you had to have a degree. You had to go to college. You cannot go to Eretz Yisrael. Like my parents didn't let me stay a third year. You have to start college and go to law school already. I don't think you need that anymore. I think there's so much, and my mother's going to yell at me. I don't think you need that anymore. There's so much that guys can do that I see guys doing, but they just have to have the initiative. And I agree with Ushy. There's so we have such high lifestyles that our
Right,
kids
so let me
work.
let me take you to my point for a minute, and we're going to wrap up in just a minute. So to the point that I was making is the reality is that when they're coming back from school after 4 or 5 years and they're about to get married and they need to support a family within 2 or 3 years, you can't just get a job and work hard at it and make a lot of money. It's just not the reality. Just telling you a
Why
fact.
did you have to end with and make a lot of money? I know.
No, you have
You're
to
going to make $60,000 a year.
because
you're going to make $50,000
it's
a
not
year.
enough to raise a family. It's just
Why
reality.
isn't it enough to raise a family?
Unfortunately,
What's
because-
family? You're 22 years old.
Co-
You barely just got married.
No, my point is that what are you doing in 3 years? What are you doing in 4 years? You're in order to grow a career,
In 4 years, you'll make $70,000.
Again, what I'm
Then
saying
you'll
is
make $80,000
living an Orthodox life is very expensive. Yes,
because of how we have
not
set
because
up
of
the
Florida, because of kosher food, because of holidays, because of schools.
system. Yes, but not as expensive as it needs to be.
No, it's the reality though is expensive.
Conversation for another day.
Yeah, no, I was making one point though, which I'll still make, and we'll get to the argument
I
another
think
time.
it's really, Orzel spoke about this.
Yeah.
It's the expenses are crazy.
They are crazy. My point was to you is that it's not enough to just get a job, and my message is that you have to get a skill, and it's not just about going to school, because I like your point also, which is go to school and advance and get a career. But what most people don't recognize is just because you don't have a career and your parents didn't push you to go to school, or you didn't have the hindsight to do that, or you went to Kollel or whatever it is, doesn't mean you can't develop a skill. And that is the important message that I'm trying to say.
I hear.
Not to just get a job, to get a skill.
I agree. I like that.
All right,
And
I like
nowadays
that.
you can do that. There's so much out there.
There's
now.
a lot. You can get into HVAC.
Get a skill, not a degree.
There
get a
you
skill.
go. If
I
you
agree.
can't get a degree, get a skill. And of course, if you can't get both, then you go with Ushy's. Go work in a pizza store and try your best.
When we hire new employees here, specifically reps, sales reps, account managers, we, in a lot of cases, take them right out of college, and we tell them, this is like what we always say, and after years now, they were telling us now how true it was, is that we're actually going to bring you on board and give you a college education that's going to be useful. You can do something with it, and we're going to pay you while we do that. We're not going to take your money. We're not going to charge you $80,000 tuition. We're actually going to pay you while we teach you. We don't expect any ROI. We're not expecting you to close deals and make money for us. We're expecting you to learn.
Yeah, we
That's
actually
it.
tell
Just
our-
learn.
it's-
We want to teach. We want to be a teaching type of company. We want you to learn, and we're going to pay you while we do it. And that's called teaching them a skill. I'm not giving them a degree. I'm teaching them a skill.
Kudos.
Michael, you're very on target with that.
Kudos
And
to you.
I can get behind it. Let's start an organization, guys. Teaching people skills. Let's go. We're an organization spirit.
I'm sure it's out there.
All right, we're going to wrap
And if
this
it is,
up.
it's not me starting it. I
after-
don't have a record for starting organizations.
Uri, we do have a thing that we have that we've done called the lightning round.
Oh,
I-
okay.
I didn't prepare one for you, but instead we're trying something new, which Ushy and I just spoke about earlier. Is let's create a staple question that we ask to everybody.
Yes.
And we're going to start trying some new ones and see how they stick.
So I guess one would be easier than.
Yeah, I mean,
lightning
let's
round.
see. I mean, it
Okay.
depends on the guest, but Ushy, you came up with a question
still
before I
nervous,
liked
though.
it.
I don't know if he's going to answer it, though.
Let's
And
try.
at least he's not going to answer it honestly. I don't
Let's
blame
try.
you.
Let's try.
So, yeah, give me something that you deem to be really embarrassing, something that you went through in your life, that you've learned from and you've grown from, but you're kind of embarrassed about it. That's what I did once. That's what I said once. That's what happened. But I'm a better person today. Today I'm a different person, and I know better, and I want other people to learn from this.
Something like you mean like tachlis, that's something, or just like something which was embarrassing, which I got past. You mean tachlis that
I'll
people
settle for
learn?
either
Try
one.
us.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
settle for either one. Right now I'm not in a position to make demands.
We're just starting.
We're just starting this, so whatever you come up with.
I wouldn't. I don't. A little bit you're putting me on the spot, but it comes back to Washington Heights, comes back to Yekke's. When I was a little kid, I once someone asked me to go get their pocketbook in front of Rabbi Schwab's building. Please go get that for me. And I said, okay, because it was an excuse to get out of school. So I ran out of school. Rabbi Schwab's house was up the block of Schwab. And so I went in front of Rabbi Schwab's house, and there was no person with a pocketbook. So I rang the doorbell. Stefan knows how this lays out. I rang the doorbell to Rav Schwab's apartment, okay? And I'm talking about Rav Schwab, Harav Shimon Schwab, Gadol Hadar, who was already at that time quite advanced in his age. And I rang the doorbell, no answer. I rang again, no answer. And then like after 5 minutes of him schlepping to his doorbell, he went, hello? And I said, it's Uri Kirschner. And anyway, he just buzzed. Okay. I went upstairs to Rav Schwab's apartment, second floor, and I rang the doorbell. I thought maybe her pocketbook was by Rav Schwab. And I rang the doorbell. I don't know how the story's coming out, but this is just what
I'm loving
my
this.
mind. I rang the doorbell and no answer. I rang his apartment bell again. After 5 or 6 minutes, I hear shuffling to the door. It's Rav Schwab. Opens the door himself. I guess someone was there to help him that day. And I'm a little kid, and I say, and he opens the door, and there's an old German of hello. He says to me, I go, do you ever miss Mrs. Loeb's pocketbook? And he goes, no. Slams the door on me. But so I was matriach the Gadol Hadar to get out of his seat and come to the door and deal with an 8-year-old kid who didn't know what he was doing. But what did I learn from that? So I learned respect for Gadol after that, because I've thought about that story a long time. I'm 53 and I'm still thinking about that story. But I stayed in Breuer's, and we used to have a rotation every Wednesday. It was my zechus to walk Rav Schwab to shul. So, I reminded him of that story when I was a few years older, and I turned that into the greatest respect. That every Wednesday I walked him to shul, I put him in the wheelchair, I put the seats down for him. So I guess your most embarrassing moments can still turn out to be awesome lessons.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Where was
Look
the
at
pocket?
that.
One second. Where was the pocketbook?
I never found the pocketbook. Never found the pocketbook, but I've told Mrs. Loeb that story. She loves it.
Of course, Uri, before we end, we got to ask you, this is a staple question that we ask everybody, and we're following this pattern, and we're hoping to get more and more guests doing this. Who's a guest that you would recommend after being here on the podcast? Did you have a good time?
Beautiful. Yeah, loved it.
Okay.
Really
good.
loved it.
So who do you think would be a good guest to sit in your seat?
So for sure, I'm for sure Rabbi Center. My Rabbi Center. I mean, both Rabbi Centers. They're both super. I don't know if you've ever spoken to Rabbi Center here.
Rabbi
Ari
Center here is a close friend of mine.
Because Ari Center here or
here.
Chaim Tzvi Center, his brother in Eretz
Yeah.
Yisrael, they're both powerhouses. They are non-stop energy. Both of them have
I like that.
incessant energy to. I mean,
you
I
close
want
to-
you to know,
Yeah.
I'm very close to both of them. But Rabbi
ahead.
Center, I will take credit that myself and a friend of mine, Yona, we brought Rabbi Center to be the Rav in our shul. I knew him from Breuer's because we were in Breuer's together. He was in the base medrash when I was in high school. And before he became our Rav, my friend Yona and I went to Rabbi Radinsky, and we asked him, should we hire Rabbi Center for the shul? And Rabbi Radinsky said to us, Rabbi Center is my Rebbe in Chesed.
Wow,
Rabbi Radinsky said that Rabbi Center is his Rebbe in Chesed.
that's beautiful.
So Rabbi, I would recommend Ari Center. Yeah, he's the best.
Can you call him and ask him to
For
join?
sure.
Okay, go ahead. Call
For
him.
sure. I'll call him right now.
Go ahead.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
See if he picks up.
Yeah, sure. Why not? He never picks up for me.
Let's try.
No, I'm kidding. He's actually very accessible. Most of the times we spend together is like 11 o'clock at night in his living room. So
Let's see if it works.
And I'm sure he's been on the podcast before.
I don't know if he's been on a podcast
No?
before. No.
I know Chaim Tzvi has. I've
Well,
seen
his
him.
family owns the Chaf K, right? Is that the organization?
Oh.
The Chaf K, yeah.
That's interesting.
Kashrus organization.
That's worthwhile discussing.
No one is available to take your
Well, he has
call.
a lot more than
Please
that.
leave
Pretty
a
good
message.
also. Yeah.
It's not looking good, boys.
Okay, again, thank you, Uri, for joining us. We really, really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so
Thank
much
you to
for
all our
having me.
listeners, our subscribers. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, get involved. We're loving the feedback. We're loving the energy. We appreciate it all. And don't forget the 100 ride coming soon to a street
you.
near you. Watch out, everybody.
Thank you. So
Literally, watch out.
Thank
That's
you
a
for
wrap.
having me.
Thank you,
so
guys.
much.
Be well. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining.
All right.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Uri. That was
I've
great.
never done one of those. You guys were great. You
Okay,
really made
appreciate
it
it.
easy.
That's the idea.